We're here because of the relationship between infrastructure and opportunity, the relationship between transportation policy and basic fairness. We're here because our administration's values guide us to recognize inequities that persist in every part of our transportation systems and our economy, and because our administration recognizes the value of assuring equity in all that we do on our watch. Most of all, we're here because we know the entire country is better off when it realizes the talents and skills of those who have previously been excluded. Put another way, we are here because of you who are with us in the room and you who are following us remotely, to celebrate what can happen when we pull together and raise the bar. As I mentioned last week, I was in Dallas representing the department making an $80 million award through our Reconnecting Communities program, reuniting neighborhoods that were divided by past infrastructure decisions. We're deploying resources across the country to do this, and while I'm there, I get the chance to meet with some of the people who are doing the good work and delivering on those good-paying jobs that are being created. I sat down with leaders from about a dozen DBE firms in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that have worked on federally funded infrastructure projects. They represented firms specializing in construction, professional services, suppliers, trucking companies, firms that have worked in aviation, transit, and highways. Some had grown to more than 100 people and hundreds of millions in sales. Some were just getting started. And they shared stories about their work and about their expertise. They talked about the importance of the DBE program, the impact that it had on their businesses. But they also talked in very personal terms about the risks that they took as entrepreneurs, the ups and downs of their businesses and the sacrifices that they made to support their workers and maintain a successful operation. They also acknowledged the challenges that they, like so many DBEs, still face when trying to secure federally funded contracts that we know can benefit their employees, their communities, and the country. Since Congress established the DBE program more than 40 years ago, it has been instrumental to responding to and remedying the discrimination that kept small businesses from competing on a level playing field for federally funded transportation projects. This program has helped to ensure that America builds the talent and expertise to deliver vital infrastructure work. Today, over 50,000 firms are part of the DBE and Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise programs. Dallas was our most recent conversation, but I've had so many across the country in Portland, Philadelphia, DC, dozens of other events that my colleagues and I have attended. And as we attend and host those events, we hear about the opportunities that these programs create and the good that can come when they work well, but also about the challenges that these businesses and their leaders and employees encounter. And we have been listening. And this team has been working tirelessly to update and revamp the program to make it even more meaningful and helpful, to make it more effective and more efficient for businesses. It's been a priority for this department from day one of the Biden-Harris administration, and that's why today, after years in the making, reflecting the input of so many of you, I am so proud to formally announce the final rule that modernizes the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise and Airport Concession DBE programs. And I'm so glad we can celebrate that together. This rule is a sweeping, significant improvement, by some measures the most significant since the program was established. We are reducing burdens on these businesses so they can focus on growing, on succeeding, on delivering to the betterment of their owners, their employees, and the whole country. We've streamlined the certification and eligibility process that includes expediting interstate reciprocity so businesses can be more easily certified in multiple states. We raised the personal net worth cap from its level set in 2011. And we'll make sure now that it rises with inflation so it doesn't take such an elaborate process to reset every single time. We're also excluding retirement assets from that personal net worth calculation so that more businesses will be eligible to participate and fewer will feel, as many business owners have put it to me, too big to be small and too small to be big. We mandated DBE open-ended performance plans for primes on design-build projects, which put simply means that prime contractors will be in a position to bring DBEs on board throughout the course of the project and not just at the outset of the project. We strengthened the prompt payment requirements Make sure that DBEs and ACDBEs get paid on time, a concern we hear about again and again when we're at the table with these business leaders. And a whole lot more. Some of this might sound technical to a layperson, but we know that these changes will mean more growth, they will mean presence under the tree, they will mean businesses better able to create prosperity in their community, they will mean generational wealth being built in communities that were left out in the past. And all of this speaks to the broader strategy of the Biden-Harris administration to create opportunity and ensure equity for every American. Our president and the administration he leads are in the business of keeping promises. We know that equity and transportation are closely intertwined, and this final rule is one of many steps that the U.S. DOT is taking to create opportunity for people who have been overlooked, overburdened, and underestimated. Last year alone, DBEs were awarded or committed over $8 billion in direct contracts that came from our highway, transit, and aviation recipients. We know we can do more. And every time we do, we are supporting workers too. We've implemented policies that create good paying jobs, support hiring from the same communities and neighborhoods where the projects are happening, funding training programs and other initiatives that remove barriers to careers and infrastructure for traditionally underserved and underrepresented communities. Part of our urgency, why it was so essential that we get this right and get this done, is that about $500 billion is moving through this building, thanks to the legislation that the congressional representatives here helped usher into being and that the president prioritized from day one. That level of investment, larger than the economy of some countries, has the power to help close gaps in this country if we are intentional about fairness. Indeed, gaps like the black-white wealth gap have already shrunk under President Biden's watch, and that's a trend I believe will continue. The president's landmark bipartisan infrastructure law ushered in an unprecedented era of investment as we modernize our roads and bridges, trains and transit, ports and airports, and is creating new opportunities for federal contracts and work. It's not for nothing the official name of this law is the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. We see workers and small businesses across the country building wealth that will be passed along to their kids and grandkids, paving the way to education, home ownership, and all the other things that go into the American dream. And today's rule is about making sure that is accessible for everyone. In the run-up to today's announcement, I learned a little bit more about the roots of this program, including the work of the late Maryland Congressman Parren Mitchell. His fight to create a more equitable country is a big part of the reason why the DBE program exists, and we wouldn't be here today without that work. In a 1988 testimony in Congress, Representative Mitchell said, "There's got to be continuous, ongoing pressure exerted, not only to make the minority business laws work, but indeed to make the civil rights laws work." The final rule that we are announcing today is a direct result of that type of continuous action by small businesses and civil rights advocates and leaders across the country who knew these programs were worth fighting for and worth strengthening. It's a continuation of Representative Mitchell's legacy, and it's a big step forward addressing so many of the challenges that businesses, including some in attendance today, have faced over the years to make sure that these laws work and that they work for everyone. So today is a day to celebrate. The playing field will be more level, more businesses and families will thrive, America will be better positioned to deliver on the massive opportunities underway through President Biden's infrastructure plans, thanks to the new talent and expertise that we will do a better job of engaging. And more Americans will have access to the economic fairness that they deserve. Thank you to everybody who has had a hand in this work. No pressure, but thanks in advance for everything that we need to do next.